In this video, I'm going to show you how to brake smoothly into stations from almost any speed in Train Sim World 6. A lot of players struggle with braking because they mostly rely on guessing when to apply the brakes. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But there's actually one simple rule that helps a lot when estimating braking distances, which is that braking distance depends on your speed squared. In simple terms, this means that if you double your speed, you need about 4 times more distance to stop. That's why braking from something like 160 km per hour requires dramatically more distance than braking from 80 km per hour, even though the speed is only doubled. Because of this, I like to use a simple rule of thumb when braking from higher speeds. Between 100 and 140 km per hour, I try to reduce my speed by about 10 km per hour every 100 meters. At higher speeds, braking distance increases much more quickly, so I increase the spacing. Above roughly 140 km per hour, I usually allow about 200 meters per 10 km per hour, and at very high speeds, it can be closer to 300 or even 400 meters. It's important to know that this isn't meant to be an exact calculation. It's more of a mental guideline that helps you estimate how early you should start braking. Another small trick that helps a lot is doing a quick brake test at the start of your run. After leaving the first station, accelerate to around 40 or 60 km per hour, then apply the brakes for a few seconds and watch how quickly the train slows down. Every train has different braking performance, so this gives you a quick feel for how strong the brakes are before you start approaching stations at higher speeds. If you want to practice this technique, I highly recommend starting with trains like the DB BR 423 or the DB BR 430. Both of these S-Bahn trains have very predictable braking behavior, which makes them great for learning how to judge distances and control your stopping points. Now, let's look at how this works in practice. Here, we're approaching a station at 120 km per hour. Using the rule I mentioned earlier, we start reducing speed gradually, aiming to lose about 10 km per hour every 100 meters. Instead of braking very hard at the last moment, we apply the brakes earlier and let the train slow down smoothly. As we get closer to the platform, we can reduce the brake force and fine-tune the speed. The goal is to arrive at the station at a low and controllable speed, around 60 km per hour, so the final stop is easy to manage. With practice, this method makes it much easier to stop smoothly and consistently without overshooting the platform.